Hello YouTube. What I want to do now is implement queen moves. So I think this should actually be quite easy. But as always, we should write tests. So we'll do something like this. Sure. So the queen moves. They are given by, let me copy this. They are given by first getting all the rook moves and then getting all the bishop moves. So it should be as simple as this. And then let's make this mutable. Oops. And then we say rook moves dot extend with the bishop moves, and then just return the rook moves. Now let's check if it compiles, because it may not. Not that. Okay, it's just some warnings. So it seems to compile. Let's go down and write a test. Now we made some nice utility, some nice builder pattern last time. So let's do queen moves with just a queen, I guess. And we'll make an empty game. We will add a white queen on d5, and the new positions, or expected positions, is a5, b5, c5, d5, e5, f5, g5, h5, and d1, d2, d3, d4, d6, d7, d8, and then we have the diagonal moves as well. So we need c4, b3, and a2, and we need f6, f, g7, h8, and we need c6, b7, a8, and we need f6. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Forgetting E is a letter. So E, F, G, and that should more or less be it. That's the problem with the queens. They have a lot of moves. And we do the same as before. We just map it to square to index, and we collect it into a vector of u size. Great. And with that, we also need the new positions, and we need the game position dot pieces, like that. And for all the new positions, we need that there's only one piece. And what more do we need? We need that the position is contained in these expected positions. So we'll make this an assert instead. And we can also, oops, it's complaining about something. We can also just assert on things like the piece type, it's still a queen, and perhaps also the color has not changed. So, not that, but this. Okay, it cannot compile it because the position is wrong. We need to bit scan it. And expected a hint, a reference. So we run that. And let's just check down here. One failed. Generate test. Generate queen moves. Failed. Zoom out a bit so I can see everything. Okay, very interesting. So it's so let's actually print this thing. So likely I made some mistake in the the expected positions. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. D1, D2, D3, D7, D8. C4, B3, A2. Seems correct. Okay, what am I doing here? So E6, F7, G8, C8 is correct. Now wait, yes, G8 correct, and then we go in that direction, also correct. And now this should be 4, 3, 2, and 1. But now there will be some other mistake. Nope. Aha, so we also forgot the usual check that we actually generate the correct number of positions. And that would have given a warning. Let's remove that one. Okay, great. So we'll do kind of the same, but we will put in some blockers, as always. Let's say one enemy. And we will add a black queen, why not? Just a pawn at c6. That means we can go to c6, but everything after c6 we cannot go to. Like that. And say one enemy, one friendly. So we add a black pawn again at d6, and we add a white pawn at c5. Then everything before c5 should go, and everything after d6 should go. Format that and run it. Okay, interesting that it actually so here we actually need to say that either we take the piece, then there will be 2 left, or we don't take the piece and there will be 3 pieces. And up here we have a similar situation that either we take the piece, there will just be the queen left, or we don't take the piece, there's nothing left. Oh, they're both left, sorry. Great, so that worked, no problem. And I guess let's remove that one more time. What would be the next thing? The easiest thing is doing the king, because because we don't have to worry about en passant or anything. So let's do that. Now, I'm not entirely sure how I want to do it. Perhaps we don't really need. So let's say let position index be the bit scan of the piece position, and then the row should be position index divided by 8, and the column should be position index modulo 8. That should be correct. And then we want the potential positions should be something like -1 to 1, and we want to map that. So let's say row offset, and we want to map that into something that says the column offset. Actually, this is getting kind of complicated to write like that. In the functional style, so let's write it in the imperative style. So row offset in -1 to 1, column offset in -1 to 1, and if row offset equals 0 and column offset equals 0, meaning the king has not moved, then we just skip that. Otherwise, we should also check. So let's say new column, new row is row plus row offset, and new column is column plus column offset. And we should say if new row greater than 1 and new row less. So it should be 0 actually, and here it should be, because we're using 0 indexing, new call less than 8. Then we can add it as a potential move. So we will push new row, new call. Great. So I think that will do that. Let's just check it. It did not like that. How do we actually solve this? Can I just say 64, 32? Okay, I found the problem was row was interpreted as a U size because of this, and then because of the addition here, what the compiler assumed that the row offset was also U size, and then we got a problem up here. So now actually, that doesn't matter. So let's just have a look up here and remind ourselves how New moves are actually added. So now we have all the potential moves. Here it says extract bits, so it's like bit indices. So instead of this, we should probably do this. So now we should have the indices, and then we will say that we get a new position by doing this weird thing. Clone the old position. We move the piece dot position to the new one, and we will say that we have this result thing that we push all the new positions to. Seems good to me. Let's check it. Okay, so here it still thinks it's an I32, so we will cast it to U size. Will it complain about that? It will not. Okay, so I also realized I'm not... no, wait, why is it saying I'm not using this one? Ah, it's in another file, okay. Right, so we don't actually need it here, but we do need it in the tests module. So I will put that here. Now let's try to run the tests. That was fine. And cargo check. Okay, it doesn't like this one. And again, put it here in the tests. Run the tests. Great, now it shouldn't complain about anything. Now we can write some king move tests. Let me just copy the queen move. Probably there should be a macro for this. King. Now luckily it's quite a bit easier to write down all the king moves. He cannot go to f5. d3 is, d4 is fine, d6 is fine, d7 not fine. There we go. e4, f7, g8, c6, e4, and e4 is fine. And I think that's it. So is that correct? There should be 8. There are 8. Generate king moves. We will check that it's still a king and run it. And it should of course be renamed to king moves. And of course it always fails in the beginning. That's interesting. So it only generates 3 moves. Now, should we try to print them? No, let's not do that. Let's just go to generate king moves. Ah, you know what? Something we haven't done is check for occupancy. So that will be a big bug. Of course, with our amazing tests, we would find it. Where's my macro? So I want this one again. King moves. And oh my god, it doesn't like. Let me just replace the dollar sign with nothing. Format. Okay. So now we want to say that the position is the position index is this thing. The position bit map bitboard whatever is position is 1 shifted, and we want to push the position index still, however only if it's not occupied by one of my own pieces. So own occupancy should be 0, then I will push, otherwise not. And I don't need the enemy occupancy because I can only move 1 square. There we go. Oops. Okay, let's run it again. Still there should be a problem, which is that it only generates 3 moves. So I'm very, very interested in why that happens. So it should never hit this one. So let's just for fun add this thing. Is this unreachable code? I already know. Panic. So it does hit this one. Ah, no, it should hit that. It should hit that one. But it should never hit this one. Okay, so that one was okay. And we can just say like moves looked at is 0 and moves looked at get 1 more, and then we can assert that we looked at 8 moves. Now that one is also okay. Interesting. And let me move this one down here because I happen to know, wait, so it's already failing there. Is it failing here as well? Okay, that's interesting. So I'm sure it's a very silly mistake. A very, very silly mistake. What happens if I remove this? Then it does get 1 more, but only 1 more. Ah, now I get it. So it's because we need to include the last one. Okay. Great. So that was indeed a silly mistake. Now, if we add an enemy, nothing should change. So we'll just add a black king at d6. Yes. Yeah, here. So again, should either be 1 or it should be 2. So let's run that. Good. Or if we have an enemy and 1 friendly, why not also a king? Who says you cannot have 2 kings? Then it should be 3 or 2. and we need to remove the d4 square. It's now unavailable. So run that, and that's also okay. So I think that's where we're gonna leave it now. Next time we're gonna do en passant. The pawn moves, I mean. But the difficult thing will be the en passant, I think. Although we have a field on the game struct that will tell us whether en passant is legal and which square it should be. So we can just use that. Now, okay, but then the difficult thing will be that we also have to set that square correctly. But maybe it's not so bad, but we will look at that next time.